Hey guys, it's Jeremy here on Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. What we have for today, guys, is another album review. This time we'll be checking out the supergroup Cemetery Skyline. It's their debut album entitled Nordic Gothic. It's released through Central Media Records on October the 11th. It's got 10 tracks in total, about 48 minutes in length. And these guys just formed this year. And when I saw the lineup of the band, it kind of drew me in to check it out. The lead singer is Michael Stawn from Dark Tranquillity. Love his vocals, one of my favorite metal vocalists of all time. And his clean vocals have always been one of my favorites. And I was kind of thinking about it, this being like a goth rock album, it kind of suits it perfectly. The guitarist is Marcus Van Halla, who's from Insomnium, one of my other favorite mellow death bands. And he's also in Omnium Gatherum, which is a good band as well. Keyboards, they got Cemetery Skyline, who's from Amorphous, another killer mellow kind of death folk metal band mixed in. Love Amorphous as well. Bass, they got Victor Brandt, who's I believe from Dimmu Borgir. Not the biggest fan of that band overall, but interesting in that mix of guys to put together. And drums, they got Vesa Ranta, who I believe is a drummer from Sentenced. So yeah, when I saw the guys comprised of Dark Tranquillity, Insomnium, and Amorphous especially, I was drawn right in. I had to check this out. Three of my favorite bands. And I was really surprised. Didn't sound like any of those bands at all. This is a straight up melodic, melancholic, hard goth rock album. Really heavy in the synths and that 80s and 90s goth rock sound. Very influential bands, like I can hear a lot of Typo Negative in this album, a lot of Sisters of Mercy, even old 80s like new wave and rock albums like Depeche Mode or Duran Duran even, that kind of flavor, like that 80s kind of synth sound kind of blended in. The atmosphere is always kind of doomy and depressive and gothic like it should be with a goth rock album, but at the same time it's not depressing, whatever, except for one song I'll get into. But overall, the song has so many bangers and so many catchy chorus hooks. At the same time, they're like anthemic, fist in the air, sing-along choruses. So it's kind of a weird mix of those two things. And like I said, getting into the songs, the opening track, Torn Away, really good banger to open it up, really rocking song, nice guitars. Again, opens with these kind of swelling synths to create that dark atmospheric vibe. And starting off with the artwork as well before I get too much further. Looking at the artwork, it fits it perfectly for a goth rock album. It's doom, it's overcast, looks like it's raining, like cloudy, dark, misty. Kind of like a scene from like The Crow or like Batman, especially like Gotham City. That's what it reminds me of. I could hear this album playing in like a Batman movie over the landscape of Gotham City, which would be badass. And it's a perfect album for the October too, like the fall into Halloween. Really cool, really suits it as well. Perfect time of year to release the album. But going back to the first track, Torn Away, just under 4 minutes. Banger of a track, super catchy chorus. After the second listen, I was already singing along. Good guitars in this one, nice melodies, good choruses, pre-chorus. Michael Stawn's vocals are like in that lower to mid register that really suit that gothic tone really well. And then the second song, In Darkness, kind of leads even more into the gothic sound. Darker riffing, synths make it sound even a little bit darker on this one. Catchy chorus still. Very anthemic, very sing-along kind of song. For the most part, most of the songs in here don't have too much variation. They do sound very similar the way they're built. The songwriting, they start the swelling synths into the guitars, and then the pre-chorus builds up into this monster hook of a chorus. And then the second chorus is even elevated more than the first chorus. They do a perfect job of building each chorus right to the end of the song. And by the second chorus, you can't help but have your fist in the air anthemically, singing along. Really catchy songs. The Violent Storm was, I think, the first single he released. Really good song again. The chorus is so catchy and anthemic, but still maintains that dark and gothic kind of tone overall, but it's still like uplifting in a way because you want to sing along so bad, and just it's so groovy and contagious, the rhythm and the chorus. Behind the Lie Had one of the more metallic kind of sounds in it. Had like this little guitar breakdown part that has a little bit chunkier of a riff and kind of hit a little bit harder. Really like that song, one of my favorites on the album. When Silence Speaks is the closest song in here to being like a full ballad. It's the verses were more very melancholy and just more straight stripped down with the piano and keys. And near the end of the song, it kind of swelled. There's a moment of swelling music that kind of made it sound very epic sounding and kind of grandiose. But overall, that was the closest song to being a stripped down, kind of more ballady song. But I still really dug it. It was super catchy still. And The Darkest Night, another one, dark undertones, like that 80s rock vibe, really catchy chorus again, similar to the earlier songs. And The Coldest Heart, number 8, had a lot of typo negative vibes. The way the song was constructed and the music sounded like it could be off an old typo negative song. I could hear Peter Steele's voice kind of singing along to it in my head. It would have been a perfect typo song, but Michael Stawn carries it perfectly. And then the last song, Alone Together, is the longest song on the album. It's 7.5 minutes. This is the only song that's constructed a little bit differently than the rest. A little bit more dynamics in the song. It kind of builds up a little bit more. It doesn't really start with the swelling synths like the other songs into the chorus. This one kind of builds a little bit differently. It's very depressing. The lyrics are very sad in this song, very emotional song. And if you really strip it down and listen to the lyrics and read the lyrics, it's a very sad song and very emotional. Perfect way to end the album, an epic kind of melancholic sadness song, kind of end the song. But overall, guys, this was a killer album. Like, I listened to so much like intense music like melodeath, intense thrash metal, speed metal, traditional metal with high intensity. And to listen to this was a nice change of pace, I'm not going to lie. It was not like heavy by any means. It had some guitar moments in there. Some songs were more guitar driven, some were more synth driven. But it was just a nice change of pace. It was a nice palate cleanser. It was fun to listen to, a really nice listen. The choruses were hit really hard on the second choruses. Really anthemic songs, sing-alongs. I was really blown away by how much I really enjoyed the listen to this. Standout tracks, Torn Away, In Darkness, Violent Storms, Behind the Lie. I like the first, I think those are all singles. I think the first half of the album was a little bit stronger for me. Overall, I found them to be a little more memorable. The Coldest Heart was really cool, really brought me back to typo negative vibes. So like I said, if you like a blend of typo, Sisters of Mercy, old school 80s kind of new wave synth music like Depeche Mode, Duran Duran even some 80s rock music like early Ozzy. Just a good blend of different stuff. The musicianship is top notch. Michael Stawn's vocals matches music perfectly. The production was perfect. It was gloomy, it was atmospheric, very like Catatonia-like, very depressive and atmospheric metal. Not metal, but hard rock. And yeah, just love this album. I've been listening to it pretty steadily since the first listen. I can't stop listening to it. I wouldn't be surprised if this might creep into my top 10, depending on how the end of the year goes. And when I go back and revisit all the albums that I'm, thinking will be in my top 10, this might creep in there. If I keep listening to it, I believe it's just a killer album. In terms of a rating for a goth rock album, I'm giving it a solid 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It might be my favorite goth rock album in the last 10 to 20 years, guys. Like, it's that good. So definitely check this out, guys, if you're not familiar with it. Cemetery Skyline, again, just dropped on Friday, called Nordic Gothic. Killer album, guys. 9 out of 10. You won't be disappointed. Fun listen, anthemic, but still has that dark goth rock vibe. Killer stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought down below of the album, and stay tuned for more great content, and keep it metal.